Yo, yo, what's goody, y'all? Welcome or welcome back to Dawn Spiritual Guidance. It's your girl Dawn, and we got a message for you. So sorry I have not been present. Okay, I've been handling kingdom business. Okay, and so always know that if I am not present, there is something going on because I really do love tarot. Not just tarot, metaphysical tools, regardless, right? Well, I am coming with a message. Before I give this message, I'm providing some background information, and the background information that I am providing, it leads up to like it's a catalyst. Okay. Um, So first and foremost, I would like to say, when it comes to this message, all of my angels of love and light, all species, okay? You know who this is. Please, my soldiers, protect all my viewers that's watching. Uncloaked, uncontaminated, uncompromised. All right. Please do not allow any course to form, no entity attachments, no parasites, no justifications, punishments, backlashes, overrides, loopholes, justifications, so on and so forth. Anything else known and unknown that they may try to do as well. All right. Please block, return back to sender, and please replace with good. In God, Yahweh's name, amen. All right. So, hey, it's on 144. Chosen. Now, this message is for everybody, okay? Now, first and foremost, this is a prophetic message. I am an ordained minister, all right? This is also an exposure type of message, okay? Um, I have been overcoming unbearable spiritual abuse, plague level warfare, spiritual warfare plague, okay? Which is more than just your average spiritual warfare. And I've been enduring this because the demons, principalities, entities, whatever you want to call them, okay, behind the veil, and those that they are working through in the physical realm, right? Because we were not against that in of flesh, but that in spirit, right? So I'm talking about covens, though, secret societies that are dark, right? Not all of them, with certain ones. Um, that have been attacking me, right? Because of what I know and the fact that I'm not conforming, because they've tried to recruit me several times because they want my energy, right? So, in short, okay, because again, I'm telling this part because it serves as a catalyst to how we're getting to the message, the initial message here, okay? Well, the exposure here for part one is um I was my spiritual identity was stolen by someone that I am not going to mention their name in this, instance, because it's not about bashing them, but to inform what the truth is. This happened about approximately 3-4 years ago. I was aware of the Akashic records. I was aware of past life reincarnation history and how that impacts your present, but I wasn't aware of a few things that this person was. And it's kind of like being a child with your innocence being taken because you don't know what sex is, what the other person that violated you does, right? That's kind of like what was done to me, in a sense. They spiritually stole my soul signature in the spirit because they knew how to do it, and they've been doing it to other people. But in this instance, I didn't know that I didn't know that that's how they accumulated their wealth. They had money, right? They had a good job. Um, right? They had their master's degree, so it was very like, oh, okay, you made this amount of money, you have this much saved, okay. But I didn't know that they practiced black magic, and I did not know that they used sex and other methods to siphon people's energy so that they can live off of their energy, right? Um So that, because the person I'm talking to, I went to school with, and so on and so forth. And I did not know this side about them until I ended up living with them. And I ended up having to move out because it got too abusive. They were too abusive. They were very deceitful. They were very wishy-washy, just wicked. And I didn't experience the extent of the wickedness, I would say, that I didn't know this person was capable of until really after I moved out uh prematurely of our lease ending. Okay. Anywho, we were never together in a commitment, though they did ask to marry me. But little did I know they were asking to marry me because they went through my Akashic records and saw what was going on, right? But they didn't want to actually marry me. They wanted my blessings, right? So this person tried to destiny swap, right? They tried to put stuff in my the smoothies that they would give me when they would make them for me. They just did a lot of very bad things. And because they, at the time, right? Because now I know, but at the time I didn't know. And that was the only upper hand that they had at that time. And boy, did they take advantage. And they got a couple few of their sorority members involved, their ships or something like that. And right, they got a few of their friends involved. This person lied to them and flipped the story. They falsely accused me. They tried to spiritually frame me and had the nerve to again cloak themselves in my energy to and for those that don't know how destiny swapping and in essence siphoning and all the rest of that works, when a dark, because she is considered a dark high priestess, well, you know, she or they, with the pronouns, because we do respect pronouns, they siphoned my energy because we were intimate, but I didn't know that she was having sex with me to siphon my energy so that she can use my energy to get jobs. She was able to get a car off my energy. She was able to get a crib housing off my energy, right? Like flexing with my energy, okay? Flexing with my energy, posing it as hers. I found out that I was not her only quote unquote victim. Okay. Um, I am a survivor. All right. I didn't find out that she and others, because she wasn't the only one, but she's a main one. She's not the only one. Okay. Now, this has something to do with this because for those of you guys that's listening, this has happened to you either in this lifetime and or a few other lifetimes. In this case, this person that I'm referring to in my very first incarnation, she stole my inheritance, our inheritance, because she was my divine counterpart. She was male in that first lifetime, I believe. And yes, we're different genders in different lifetimes. Hey, this is for entertainment purposes only, okay? This is based on beliefs, okay? If you don't believe in reincarnation, this video is not for you, okay? This isn't to impose or input any beliefs onto you, okay? But remember, there's people out there that think God ain't real, and just because they think God ain't real don't mean that God ain't real, right? All right. So take it as it may. But if it doesn't resonate with you, go ahead and skip the video. It's not for you. Take what resonates, leave the rest behind. All right. All right. Now, and I'm side note, by the way, raised Christian Catholic for 30 some odd years. I'm out of that. Okay. So don't religion me to death. Been there, done that. So, anyways, so yes, this energy, I have reincarnated with her in several lifetimes where she has stolen my inheritance. There was a life, I'll just leave it at that, which she has stolen my inheritance in several lifetimes. And in this one, I don't know, yes, she remembered. She received some information. Okay, I'm receiving downloads as I'm talking about this. Um, so basically, the soul tried to do it again, but this time I caught it in this lifetime. I caught it, and they didn't expect me to catch it. In fact, I was totally underestimated, right? Um, and so on and so forth. And again, I wasn't the only energy that this energy did this to. They did this to multiple people because they treated everybody like shit. They play people, they deceive people, they're a cheater, they're a liar, they're a scammer, they're a fake, they're a fraud, they're a phony. So when you do all of that, and that's your life mainly, you don't have any good karma to attract good opportunities, especially when you don't want to take accountability for your actions. Well, they started to have sex with people, get around people and use their energy to attract good opportunities for them. But for those of you that know energy siphoning, their bad karma has to go somewhere, so then it ends up going to the other person. And if that other person isn't inclined about how energy works and the things that people have been doing honestly for centuries behind the scenes, for those that may not know, to achieve opportunities and not get out of serving their karmic debt and such, um they just think it's regular adversities or a regular trial and tribulation, or that God don't love them. And no, somebody's putting work on you. You just don't know, or you don't believe, or you're in a doctrine that doesn't talk about that, or don't provide all details, or whatever the case may be. Okay. And so the person ends up taking some of that bad karma, wondering why, well, I'm a good person. Why am I experiencing this? Why am I experiencing that? And nobody's perfect. So, and not that you're not going to have adversity, but for some people, it shouldn't be to the degree that it is. For some, it should be, because you do have some heavy karmic debt, and or you're a generational curse breaker. But even in that case, some things shouldn't be to the degree that it is. Okay. That's why it's very important to get Akashic record readings, and from a trusted source, not a dark source. Okay, because dark sources typically, like, they're trying to steal from you, right? You want somebody of love and light that's going to have integrity, morality. Okay, the energy that I am referring to pulled a Judas move that Judas did to Jesus. Well, in the spiritual realm, there's a spiritual sex trafficking grid that the demons and entities and parasites use, and this beast. I'm about to talk about the beast from the book of Revelations, okay? The spiritual sex trafficking is used. This is why people have painful periods that turn into PCOS. Again, this is for entertainment purposes, okay? You don't gotta believe. This is why people start developing endometriosis. This is why, we're really supposed to be living for thousands of years, but people barely making it to 100, and we should be living longer, because for centuries, the dark side, and this is why, listen, I've been getting spiritually raped and molested every day throughout the day. I mean, constantly yelled at verbally, like, it's really, really bad and unbearable. But I'm hanging on to God, and they're doing this because they don't want me to expose all this ancient knowledge that I ended up accumulating because of the abuse and other factors. This is only just a nugget. Okay, because the collective, baby, we in spiritual danger. But to get back to the spiritual sex trafficking, it is a grid, it is a beast system. It's two things. One is, it's a beast system where they are entering your body, latching on to you, siphoning from your organs, especially from your sacral, your solar, your spine, because in your solar and your sacral chakra, this is where your spiritual gifts are, your ability to manifest, and they trying to bind themselves to you. So anytime that you work, let's say you're able to get a $40 per hour job, well, if they bind themselves to you, they don't want to work. So then you're wondering why you can't get no $40 per hour job. As an example, you're only able to get a $20 per hour job because little did you know somebody either at birth or at some point in your lifetime then bonded themselves to you so that anytime you applied for something or whatever the case may be, they wouldn't have to do no work because the energy would just come to them because that's what they did the work for. Okay, let's just talk about it. Okay. um so you know what, y'all, I'm gonna make a part two. Okay, so this is gonna be about the exposure part. The second part is about the beast, y'all, because the beast is a like the book of Revelations. Lucifer developed a new beast that's bigger than ever, and God gave me a dream on it. Okay, again, I am an ordained minister. I'm prophetic. I receive prophetic dreams and messages through my clairs and visions and so on and so forth. Okay, so I will talk about that the beast in part two. So make sure you look out for that. I'm gonna finish the spiritual sex trafficking grid. So for the spiritual sex trafficking grid, like I said, they open up portals within you, okay? And so they weaken your auric field so that they can get in, and they can do this through bad medication, heightened emotions, different mental health concerns, ailments, and so on and so forth. And so, yeah. And once they get in, they try to latch themselves to the different implants and hooks and imprints. And, they start latching on dark programming, siphoning your light codes, exchanging it with their dark codes, right? Because some codes they can't replicate. So they siphon them, they steal them, and they benefit off you not remembering. Because if you remember your power and what you are able and capable of doing, then they wouldn't be able to steal from you. So there's a lot of things that you have to revoke in the spirit when it comes to going to a practitioner who has the authority to revoke, nullify, cancel out, void out any and all spiritual legalities of things, vows, promises that you and or any ancestors in your bloodline have made. And in some cases you tricked into them. Man, I'm gonna save that for another video. Okay, but basically, people are being sexually trafficked, and I was, because this energy sold me out, sold my soul fragments, so that they could get money, because they grew up in poverty, and this is how they wanted to solidify their um, abundance off the back of others and by selling people out. And they sold me out, and they thought that I wasn't going to find out, and they tried to take my divine inheritance. They tried to destiny swap. And mind you, this is a false twin flame, because although they were an initial candidate, they are no longer a candidate, because, well, who wants to be with somebody that not only you sold out, but you also spiritually raped as well and stole from in multiple lifetimes and did not like do better in this one. And I am a part of the collective, so this isn't my only story. This is some of you guys, whether this played out in this lifetime and or a previous one, and you need to close out the cycle in this one. Okay. So be on the lookout for part two. Okay. And always remember, you make your own decisions. Peace out. Deuces.